I've been asked about the Canadian Orthodox History Project and its development. It began with a desire to clarify and make available for people the history of the Diocese of Canada and its parishes, the parishes which make the diocese, and also the people in the parishes which make the parishes and which are part of the yeast and salt that we are here in this country. The Orthodox faith itself is invisible in Canada. People cannot see it, even when it's amazing when there's an Orthodox church standing in a neighborhood for decades, and people walk by it and they don't pay any attention to it. They don't know what it is until someday someone actually brings it to their attention, and they say, "I saw that all these years and I didn't know what it was." And some of them become Orthodox through that sort of a contact. Our own people, however, need to know who we are and where we come from, because if we don't know where we come from, we don't know so well how to go into the future. By knowing what is good and also mistaken in the past, helps us to do better from such observations as we progress in the future, because human beings are human beings, and the difficulties that we face are very repetitious because we are all about the same. And it's always being said that if we don't learn from the lessons from the past, then we are going to repeat the mistakes of the past. So we have to learn our lessons from the past in order to help the Lord to develop His church in the best way possible. So writing became the main method of doing this. It was not by it didn't come about because of some sort of thought out scheme. It came because the Lord blessed one thing to happen after another, and these particular events of writing, or little smaller projects, developed into something that made sense, that had to be done. And so I will say that it's not without a large part of understanding on the part of Alexander Vasilievich Ovodov that this came to be. God inspired him to say good things and appropriate things at the right time for many things to happen. He and some others, the example of Father Andrei Somov and his care for the history of the parish and the way of Holy Resurrection, and how he cared for keeping the details in order so that the history could be learned from and talked about and built upon was possible. So this history project began further by trying to say something more about how the parishes of Canada developed, how they got to be where they are today, some for much better, some for not so much, because, well, of course, the economy of Canada has had something to do with the difficulties of rural parishes in particular, but also how the diocese has developed, and our place. We wanted to then to talk about our place in the rest of the Orthodox life in Canada. Who are we in the kaleidoscope, maybe you could describe it, of Orthodox life in Canada? It began as a diocesan project, but the diocese. Obviously, it does not live in isolation in Canada. All the Orthodox parishes of one language or another are still working together. They encounter each other. They do things together one way or another. And so it's necessary to discuss this as well. It's becoming a huge project, and it is a project that is going to outlast my lifetime. Certainly it's going to outlast my lifetime, because there are so many Orthodox believers in Canada, so many Orthodox parishes in Canada, and there are becoming so many more Orthodox parishes in Canada. It has to be written about so that it will be possible to continue to develop in harmony and also to avoid making mistakes that are made from time to time. If we make a mistake, by seeing and recognizing it, understanding what it is, with God's help, we can avoid doing it again. So this is somehow the main hope of the development of this Canadian Orthodox History Project. And it is my prayer that the Lord will stir up in the hearts of clergy and faithful people in the country to come to making their own contributions towards this. Perhaps this sort of one-person project can become a more organized group of people who are able to gather material and to sort it and edit it and write it and present it in many more ways than one person has any hope of being able to think about. So may God grant that if the Lord is touching your heart, maybe you could say something, volunteer, or whatever the Lord moves you to do. Always to the glory of God. Always to the glory of God. And thank you.